This is going to be a good interview. I already know. Do you ever wish you could have a parenting do-over? My guest today says over 40% of parents surveyed say they wish they did, including my guest today. He's written a new book entitled, If I Had a Parenting Do-Over, 7 Vital Changes I'd Make. Welcome back to 100 Huntley Street, Mr. Jonathan McKee.
Hey, so glad to be here.
Good to have you. So what is a parenting do-over?
Oh man, I think it's that thing that where parents like myself look back and we go, oh, I would have done that differently. You know, I hear it over and over again at the back of one of my parent workshops. A parent will come and go, okay, I think I blew it. I did this, you know? And instead of holding on to the guilt and beating ourselves up for it, saying, okay, how can I learn from this? How can I make changes, you know, with not only my younger kids, but, you know, parenting, I got a 19, a 21, and a 23-year-old. It ain't over.
Yeah.
You know, the relationship moves on. And let's stop dwelling on the past and let's look at the future.
I love this. So the #1 response of most parents that you interviewed said that they wish they had spent more time with their kids.
And the answer came in a variety of ways. It was, I wish we would have had more meal times. I wish we would have, you know, spent less time watching screens and sitting around having conversations, going outdoors. One mom said, I wish instead of watching my kids play in the ocean, I wish I would have gone out there with them instead of sitting on the sand.
I'm one of those people that sit on the sand, and sometimes I wish I did go in the ocean.
And it's one of those things, and it's funny, like when we go to the beach, my wife literally, and we live 3 hours from the beach, okay? I'm in California, but we live 3 hours from the beach. I don't live on the beach, all right? But my wife will go out there, and she's just playing with them and playing with them, and it's so fun just watching her do that because she just has such good connection times with her kids. And that's one thing that I've never heard parents look back and say, you know, I wish I would have spent more time at work. You know, the big, you know, do-over that most parents seem to want is, I wish I would have hung out with my kids more. I wish I would have had more bonding time. Talk
about quantity time and why that's important to teens. So, you know, my kids are younger, but I think, like, I hear parents say who are, you know, parents of teens, oh, my teen doesn't want to hang out with me. But this is fascinating. In your book, you say that teens actually want quantity time. What does quantity time mean?
And the research shows that quantity time actually works with teenagers because some parents are all about, well, I'm just going to get that quality time, right?
Yeah.
Well, it takes quantity time to find those quality time moments. And you know, moms will tell me, you know, oh, I've tried and I'll have a family dinner 5 days a week. And for 10 dinners in a row, my kids will eat and they'll just get out of there. But you know what? On that 11th dinner, all of a sudden they'll open up. And you never know when that's going to be. It takes that quantity time to get the quality time. But teenagers also, man, I've been in youth ministry 25 years, and I bet any youth pastor would tell you this. Teens would love to talk about themselves, but they just don't get that opportunity. I mean, you know why? Because their friends are little punks. You know, if they go, oh, I'm you know, bummed today, their friends will be like, oh, you think you're bummed? Let me tell you about my day. You know, and nobody listens. And if we as parents actually notice our kids, pay attention to what's going on in their lives, our kids want to talk about something. It might not want to be what we want to talk about, but if we can be that listening ear and connect with them, that's going to open pathways to more meaningful conversations, maybe about stuff that matters.
And that leads right into my next question.
Okay.
I love this, that children or your kids want to know that you like them. They want, and they want to actually be known. And I thought it was interesting, you showed the parallel of this like generation. Facebook, it's, you know, you like an item. Instagram, you like a picture. They want to know that they're actually liked by their parents, that they're cherished by their parents, that they actually know who they are.
Yeah, and this is tough because parents of teenagers sit there and say, not my kids. You know, my kids don't want anything. And it is tough because we as parents, it doesn't mean us posting embarrassing pictures of them or baby pictures. They don't want that. But, and they don't necessarily want us to, you know, to like and comment on everything they post. But they do want to be noticed. And if we notice and affirm, not if we become that parole officer and like, what time did you get in last night? You know, how late were you up? Who were you with? With that boy Chris, I knew you should have hung out with him. You know, if we become that and we jump immediately over to the boundary part, and if all we are is that boundary parent, it interferes with bonding. And the scary thing is, a lot of parents, we need to keep our eyes on the big picture because if we don't have a relationship with them, then they're gonna glean their values from other sources, and that's terrifying.
Yeah. What's your biggest do-over, Mr. Jonathan McKee?
My temper. There was times where I just wish I would have said less. I wish I would have picked my battles. I wish I would have not freaked out. And that's why I spent a good time in the book talking about how can we, in that moment, not say, I got this because I never had it. How can we think, instead of rehashing, oh, what would have I said later? Pausing enough to say, hey, I'll tell you what, I want you to put your phone down on the desk, and I want you to go upstairs and we'll talk later. And have that moment to buy that time so I can do the rehashing beforehand and talk with them and tell them I love them unconditionally and not, and so many parents came back with the same thing. I wish I would have talked less. I wish I would have reacted less, because our relationship's so important with them. And if we freak out all the time, they're going to go to somebody else for these conversations.
Talk about faith and how important it is in allowing that to be a part of the DNA of your family as well.
Yeah. That's why I devoted that entire last chapter to what I call walking with. So many parents today in the church, and we want to raise our kids right, and sometimes we think that that's through our boundaries. We think if I get the perfect parental blocks on their devices, if I get these, all these different, blocks that will guide them and keep them safe. But the thing is, first of all, we can't keep them totally safe. And the other thing we need to realize is through conversations that most values are passed on. And if we're so focused on boundaries that we neglect bonding, then those conversations don't happen. So the walk with approach is really Deuteronomy 6. It's as we walk along the road, as we get up, as we go to bed at night, having conversations about that stuff. If our kid says, can I have this app? Say, I don't know, let's check it out together.
Yeah. This is always good. It's always good having you here, Jonathan.
So fun to be here.
Again, the name of the book is If I Had a Parenting Do-Over, 7 Vital Changes I'd Make. You're going to have to buy the book, but you talk about actually not having rules come in age. So when your children turn 17 and a half, 18, all rules go out the window. You're going to have to get the book to find out more about that. Thanks again.